Hello and welcome to Stampscapes Friday Night Live. This is a video dedicated to this new surface that I've been introduced to. I've seen it before in the past, but I haven't had any, so thanks to our fellow stamper for sending me some to experiment with. I have several different colors to kind of play around with. I've been using the darker ones so far, but I just tried the lighter one, which was... it took me on a completely different little, I don't know, journey in terms of the usage of it, okay? It has this kind of frosted surface, all right? And I noticed when I touched it with a wet hand, it removed that frosted look, and then when it dried again, it came back to that frosty finish. But the way that this white Mirri lava accepted the watercolor types of applications with watercolor pencils and my paintbrush style of application, it got me thinking about something else. So what I did was I added this dye-based sun up here, okay? And it just, you can tell, this is the lava just kind of untreated or untouched, but it turns into a very kind of reflective, glossy finish through that frosted kind of appearance on the top, all right? So I've spray sealed this, but this was looking like this before I even spray sealed it. So you can get that kind of, it looks like you've put some sort of mirrored reflective type of sun up there, but you can tell that it's, you know, within the same pattern as the paper itself. So I don't know, we can use this kind of I guess dye-based ink application over the top of it to remove certain parts of that frosted finish. I haven't figured out, you know, where I'd want to do that except for the sun in this one, but you might be able to do something like that. Like if you wanted like a clear kind of area on this water surface down here, I guess you can just go through it with some sort of, I don't know, maybe like a alcohol ink blender pen even. It might do it. It might kind of permanently remove that frosted finish to it, but you can kind of oscillate your usage of this transparency, opacity, translucent surface on this type of cardstock. I guess, I don't know. And that's the same thing with these other types of colors too. You can see this color came from this one, okay? You can tell that they're just, one is just very kind of satiny. It's not so frosted looking, but I suspect it has the same type of look as the white. It's just, you know, this one's on a color right here. But if you do things like spray seal, or if you put other types of tones over the top of something like this, I'm guessing it becomes more transparent and a little bit more kind of dynamic in terms of the contrasts that are going on in there. I do like this frosted look though, or matte they call it. It's much more satiny than matte. But, all right, so how do we use that? I have no idea how to use that, okay? But I'll play around with it a little bit and I'll see how far we can take it. Maybe not in this video, but I'm going to play around with it a little bit more. Hello, everyone. Hello, Candy, CM Hawkins, Kay, Patty, Bugs. How are you? So anyways, these papers are pretty fun, though. You know what I mean? It's just, you know, instead of this one right here had a lot more colors in it than I thought. I didn't even see them until I had it in a different light, but there's this kind of greenish, reddish tinge. Sometimes when you spray seal these too, other colors kind of pop out too, where it was a little bit too frosted and it was kind of muting the color scheme, but sometimes you can kind of spray it. Now this one was sprayed with it's a light spray of, I don't know, okay, I can't remember. So this one right here is sprayed with the workable fixatives, okay? So it didn't quite super saturate and become really transparent and glossy. So I kind of like that, but I also like this too. So you can use that kind of matte surface and satiny finish to get your media to apply to it. Then if you want to really pop it out in terms of kind of more of a deep space type of thing, you can spray it with a thick coating of your spray sealant and it will reveal all that. Or I don't know, you can do some up in the sky, more sealant up in the sky, less down below, I guess. And you can have two different, types of textures it'll continue the same pattern to it, but one will be a little bit more muted. So it's added a kind of a big twist, this whole kind of dynamic to what I might consider when approaching these pieces. This one right here, this white, looks really cool. The colors like down here weren't showing as much, but I just spray sealed it, okay? And I tried to make sure that I didn't spray seal it too much because it would have become, I think, really, really glossy down here. And we wouldn't be able to see this kind of white misty effect to it. But I thought that sealant kind of brought out a little bit more character with the color scheme at least. And I thought the color scheme, being that I added that little sun up there in the color, I do kind of like this rainbowy type of patterning down below, coming through a little bit. But I did want to, I put the brakes on it when I saw, oh, this is really starting to look really see-through as I was spraying it. So I just gave it a really light coat. I don't even know if this one really needed to be spray sealed or not. Because the surface itself seems to take just the media really well. And it's just hard to believe that you can put something like, any kind of watercolor types of applications to this type of surface and have it work. So, the spray sealant on there, again, I'm looking at it for the first time right now. I just spray sealed it a few minutes ago, and I'm noticing some other things in this that I didn't really notice before. So, I don't know. I think it's pretty cool. It might be more dynamic, I'm afraid, than just doing the same scene on white paper that I was doing before. It's more expensive, but if it looks, I don't know, whatever, 5 times more dynamic, and, we could find this at a reasonable price, that would be really good. So they sell these packs. I have a link up to a multi-pack, but they sell these links to, they sell these papers on different websites. And there's probably just, you can get certain single colors of it or something like that. What we need is like, I don't know, we need is like a multi-pack of like 2 or 3 of these colors each. I think that'd be really cool. But the white one, I don't know, I thought the white one might be kind of the least, dynamic of all of them, but it might be the most universal in terms of the types of colors you can apply to it and get other colors over the top of it. So look at that sun, though. I think that sun is like one of the coolest parts of it. And that's just using I just put my Mirri inks on it, okay? For that little transition up there, just like I have in previous videos. And I just dabbed that ink, on a little stencil made of a 1-inch hole punch. And it became that foil-looking additive. But it was almost like an additive and subtractive thing because it took out the, that gloss part of it. So, God. As if we don't have enough type of things to, options available to us. It's a good thing, though. Okay, now this is the scene that someone was asking about last week. I just added that the sky is the daily bread of the eyes up there quote right now. I didn't spray seal this, so I need to be careful about touching that, but I thought, this little card needs something, so you can see what that is down there. It's just 3 impressions of the spruce large and then 2 of the leafless pines, and then we splatter painted, I think, some of that Dr. Martin's bleed proof white up there. And I added some blue stars using the pastel blue pen. I thought that would go really well. I don't know if you can see it. Some of these stars are kind of bluish in tinge right in here, but I thought that kind of went really well with this gold overall foil color scheme. I don't know if it's not one color, but this, you can see what color it is when, like that. It's gold, okay? So it's everything like that, too. Okay, so that's not the Mirri lava, though, but we did that last week in the Stampscapes live. Hello, Linda. All right, so Amazon is out of stock at this time. I don't know. I just looked and it was an add to cart as far as that link goes. I don't know if that link is the best link. I think some of the other sites had it, like I said, individual colors. And there might be other sites that have kind of a multi-pack. I think that one that I'm linking to is 12 by 12 as well, so. All right, so I'm going to try this right here. I'm going to try a Horizon card. Now, this one's using one of the more, dynamic pieces. This one does not look matte to me. Okay, it's like all glossy. So I don't know how that's going to work with this piece down below, but I thought I would do those little sea turtle types of things. I want to try some other things down here, though. I want to try some other colors of colored pencils and maybe some watercolor pencils down here on this piece below. And then we'll just do something really simple up here because, I don't know, there's, you can't, I don't know how much we can do up there. And to have it kind of look reasonably, I don't know if harmonious is even the word because it's such a contrast up there. So it'll have the same patterning though, type of general patterning to it. But I don't know, this one really stands out. I want to do like a haunted house or something like this on this one. And then like these areas up here, they kind of look like ghosts to me, like that. Or like you can see, I don't know, like here's the black one right here. See this right up here? So if we put like a little area of like mist or fog down here, like clouds right here, can you imagine some like dead trees or like a spooky tree or, like a tombstones or something like that? But see up here, we put these little eyes like in white or black up here. So it looks like these little specters or whatever, you know what I mean? We can put little eyes up here in the sky like that, and they would be like ever changing. The question is, do you do the eyes in black or do you do them in white? Because it has like this value change depending on what angle you're doing this at. Okay, so if you haven't checked, any of these Mirri holographic lava videos that I've done so far, what I'm talking about right here is, see this area where it's really light in here and it's dark around on the perimeter? Well, if you change this, now this area in here is dark and the area around it is light, so it goes through this full value and in some cases color range. So sometimes it's kind of, I don't know, for me, just in terms of the concept, it can be a little bit confusing as what to place on top of here. Do you go positive or do you go negative? And what I mean by that is, I guess we can go either way. So here's this, our images in white, against a dark background, and here's our images in dark against the white clouds and that background, so I don't know. I think either way with those ones, but this one's a little more active though, so it's not as mellow, so I'm just not sure. So we'll I don't know. Let's test it out. Let's get to it here. All right, so this is going to be our horizon card, meaning this is going to represent my sky area, and this is going to represent land. I'm going to stamp some land elements out here on the horizon in the form of my Palm Island. That's what I'm planning right now. So I want to have those islands show. If I just stamp them in black over the top of this, they're not going to show. If I just stamp them in white over this, I don't think it's going to show. It'll show a little bit, but the image will really be broken up. So I think I need to mute out some of this with some cloud texturing. It's going to look kind of crazy, I think, no matter what, but hopefully in a cool way. All right, glad you like them, Patty. I'm really having some fun with those. This cardstock. I haven't gotten to like the craziest of pieces yet, but this one was right up there. And then this one, the gold, is like really, really busy looking. Someone needs to do like a, you know, it wouldn't be scenic stamping, which, not everything has to be, of course, not even for me, but if you had like some kind of I don't know, card that was like in the shape of a lava lamp or something like that, or I don't know, something where you can use like a small piece of it in some field. It might be kind of interesting. Field is an area, not like a like a grassy field or something like that. I'm just talking about in a given space, where you want some kind of cool effect somewhere, or like some of you have those like those stamps, or I think do them in crickets, where it looks like you're looking, like the card is like looking out of a window. It'd be cool to have just some of this in the window, where you're looking out into like it's weird kind of space. I think that'd be kind of an interesting usage of it. All right, so this, I'm getting my clouds together right here. So we'll do something like this, okay? So we're going to be muting out a lot of this. I hope I can stamp on the top of this the white. Sometimes I'm not sure if this white is going to adhere to something so glossy, so that when I'm stamping over it, over the white clouds with another image, I just want that ink to transfer on here and to not just remove the white that I'm applying on here, you know what I mean? So let's just see how it goes here. If it doesn't, work out, then this isn't a lost cause. You can just use this piece of paper for something else. All you do is just wipe off everything, okay? It's not going to, I don't think this one is going to adhere until you spray seal it, okay? The other Mirri cardstock, I think it will adhere. The ones that are a little bit more satiny or matte in finish, that ink and that media just shockingly adheres to it a lot better than I would have ever imagined. So I don't know why they might make it that way so that you can apply some media to it. So I don't know. But then why wouldn't this one be the same way, I don't know, maybe the other ones were matte and maybe this one's glossy or something like that. I don't know. I'm not sure. Okay, I'm getting some fraying here. We need to squash this down. Anytime you start getting like little balls of lint kind of transferring down, they just kind of squash this down. So this is what I'm doing. I'm getting that cloudy kind of field built up. You can see that little piece of lint right there. Okay. Cotton lint. Just like I said, just squash it down like that. Okay, now what I'm doing here is I'm using the Brilliance White because it will dry on this type of surface. Your oil-based pigment inks probably will not. I say probably because I haven't experimented with all those other types of inks on this type of surface, but this one feels more like a traditional holographic cardstock, metallic, very sealed off, and as far as the finish goes. This one, not so much. This one's like different. You can see it's kind of flatter and satiny. So I think that whatever that finish is on this one, it's allowing it to take kind of a wider variety of inks or something like that. Okay, so yeah, just look up Mirri lava, and you'll probably come up with the different websites. Okay, I didn't look it up before I did this one, but I've seen it on I don't know, like maybe 2 different sites before, but I wasn't even looking. I was looking up some people. I knew some people that had it. One person in a live workshop had that cardstock, and after we got done with kind of the general lesson of whatever we're covering, I don't know, I probably asked her if there was anything else that she wants to, kind of try out, and I think she had the blue, she had this one right here, and then she stamped on that one, and it looked really awesome when she stamped. I think it was the Lakeside Cove over the top of it, and I thought, oh wow, that really looks cool, because this one to me is the type of holographic that looks the most like water to me, right? So I mean, with hers, using it the way we did, like on those ones that I just showed you, those ones, it's for water and sky, but those two things are often kind of mirroring each other. Water tends to reflect the things that are going on in the sky. Okay, so let's see. I'm going for kind of, a little bit of a irregular, varied. I don't want just, just a straight line of clouds across there, so kind of vary it a little bit or a lot like this. And I'm also kind of adding more of it in some areas to make it a little bit more, varied in terms of the lighting hitting the clouds. So you can throw this down here again too in another area, like down here if you want to. And then get another kind of layer of clouds in front of the background ones. Okay, so this one's in front, that one's in back. It's not going to look like that when it dries. It'll look a little bit different, but you can get a little bit more variation like this with your stencil, your cloud stencil. All right, so you see that? So there's a couple layers in there like that. And then I kind of blend that out a little bit more. So hopefully I get that, I kind of retain that little bit of a difference right in there. So, okay, so let's take a look. That's not blocking out the background too bad, huh? In terms of the that patterning showing through there, I mean, you can see a little bit right in there, but that's not too bad. So in other words, I think we'll be able to see our image, provided it, it stamps over this without any problem. I'm kind of wondering if I should come up here with another cloud or something like that sort. I might just splatter paint this with some stars and kind of stabilize that area up there slightly, if there's such thing as doing that to this type of thing. I mean, that really looks like neon lights or something like that. If neon lights were made out of, kind of a oil lamp, lava lamp type of material. Okay. So let's just set this out, aside to dry here for a little bit. And then let's address this lower portion. Okay, let's see. Hello, William. How are you? Not sure how long I stay awake. Very weary. We'll put. Don't worry, Bill. We'll get you to get you snoozing here in like 5 minutes. Hello, Ginger. Jeff, happy Friday to you. Let's see. Do you ever stamp an image in white? And if so, do you use a different ink pad than the one you're using to show the mist? Because the one you're using is discolored. I don't know. I don't stamp any other. I might have stamped other things in Hero Hues in the past, but no. I just stick with the Brilliance these days in terms of my impressions because it dries faster. I don't know. Is it discolored? Let me see. If it is, I can't tell. I've used it on something else, and it did have a different type of tinge to it, didn't it, though? But I don't know. I can't tell with that. I'm not going to switch pads, for something like that's minute. I use a different pad, though, for my impressions than the one I'm using for my clouds, though. I just have, so yeah, I do switch pads. I switch it from a Brilliance kind of moonlight white to a Brilliance moonlight white. This is my cotton pad right here, and this is my just pure impression pad. All right, so this Seaside Cove is going right here, okay? And I'm going to do this one I'm going to give myself some options here, I'm not planning on using alcohol pads, okay? Inks to color my scene. At least in this one. I thought about trying it, I thought about just doing this in dye-based inks. And I think it would work. I've tested it, with this little area right here. The dye-based ink applied on top of this white matte holographic with no problem. And this is dry, and that really stuck. That's unbelievable to me. Just in terms of what I've experienced in the past with other types of metallics and holographic cardstocks. Not the printable vinyl, that's a different thing altogether, okay? That would take, the dye-based inks no problem. But as far as these other types of things, yeah, I don't know. I've been shocked. I've been in a state of shock from yesterday to today. Just in kind of I don't know. It goes against the things that I've learned so far from other types of cardstocks. Even just cardstocks, foils and things like that. And I don't know if it's just the white one, okay, but it just comes to show you, don't go, I don't know. I mean, there are certain things maybe that just kind of go against the properties of, the paper completely. But try not to have too many set notions on what might work on a new material, unless I tell you that it doesn't work. If I've tested it already, then but I don't know. I mean, it might be different for different brands too at times, but I don't know. I've been going into this Mirri lava kind of with trying to purposely have an open mind, which is what got me trying the watercolor on it last night, and I'm glad I did. So I'm kind of having to listen to my own advice when it comes to this type of paper here. And the white one, I don't know, the white one might be my favorite one so far. So if you just joined in, I'm using the white matte holographic right down here. Okay, now look at this is what got me wondering about this. Okay, so I don't know, just the moisture in my hand right now. Okay, let me see here. Let me get a little water right here. This is what got me thinking about this, though. I got it a little bit wet like that, okay? That's just water right there, but look what happens there, all right? So I was thinking, what is that? Then I realized, I had a little, water on my hand or finger or something like that. So see as it dries, it goes back to that frosted look. So I knew that, I could apply water to it and it would dry on there. So that's what got me thinking about the watercolor pencils on here and doing these watercolor type of washes on here. And lo and behold, it worked. I couldn't really tell what I was doing as I was doing it, though, because it looks like clear like that, and you can't really tell what it's looking like until it regains its frosted type of appearance. So you're kind of going into that a little bit blindly as you're doing it. But I knew that it would take, this takes water and then the water can dry on it. So the other ones like, like this, I think it would just beat up on here, right? You'd have this little, little dots of water, I'm guessing. I don't know. I guess I should try it, but I really don't think it's going to work on that, but I don't know. I've been shocked. Okay, so this is going to be the sea turtles. Let's have them going. Oh yeah, 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 yeah. I forgot about that. I think I was going to put a moon up here, like a moon. So that'll help kind of stabilize this area as well in here. All right. So like that, look at all that slathering of moisture down there, and see as it's just, and the water dries on here really fast too. So what's interesting to me too is I wonder if I stamped this out if I stamped it out on a dye-based ink, would these turtles then, that water-based portion, when you do it in a dye, it seems like it retains that kind of that transparent type of look to it. So would the turtles then be, in this case, the turtles, or anything stamped in black, if I did it in the dye-based ink, would it look real kind of transparent, where you see the colors showing through the turtles? That would kind of be interesting if those turtles had a little bit of this kind of rainbowy type of appearance to them. I'm just going with the stays on here because I want to do some other things on here right over the top of it. So let's see if how this works out, or this combination works out. Really bizarre though to me. Okay, I'm going to go with the two different images in here, the large and the small. Lower in the composition means closer to us visually. Higher up means farther away. Just in general, in terms of Western perspective. Okay, something like that. And then let's add in some additional textures. I'm going to work my textures around these turtles, and then we'll have some additional foreground elements in here. Let's see. Hello, Anne from Northern Maine. Northern Maine. Wow. Do you get some, are you able to see the northern lights up in there? I would imagine you can, right? From wherever you are. How far northern Maine are you? Like, how far are you from, like, Augusta? Okay, so adding some of this in here, like about like so. This will be my kind of my gravelly, sandy texture. I haven't toured Maine enough. When I was in Maine the last time, which was, a gazillion years ago by this point in time. But I wanted to go to Katahdin, all right, and hike around in there. I had a full week to do it, but I'm just going to go over and hike Acadia like for all week. So I was hiking around in there for like 4 or 5 days. I always bring up that story because that was one of my favorite kind of outdoor trips. I was out there for the Maine stamp convention at the time and teaching classes. I don't know, are the Hodgkins on here today? Linda and Harold join in sometimes. I used to go and teach at their store. All right, so Here we go. So see that? So don't go into your, if you go into your turtles, you can do it, but don't go in with like directly in there. Kind of hit it out here first a few times and then do a much lighter impression of your textures, so that they're not, unless you're making a statement of kind of like camouflage or something like that with your forms, okay? But in this case, I want them to kind of be the stars of the scene and have them stand out. So, you know, you might be able to see like some, sorry, it's kind of blurred out, but there's these lighter impressions. So that might be like the third impression of those rocks. The first impression are darker, and they're on the outside, the perimeter right here. And kind of where I want to add, you know, kind of create a little bit of shadow areas in here where it's going to be darker anyways. This is giving me a head start in terms of, you know, creating that darker area just by building up some layered patterning in that area, okay? I've just started doing that. I mean, I've done it before, but I'm doing it more as like a regular technique. Over the last few months, you know, with kind of the water pattern and these pebbles, I used to do it more, you know, kind of more sparingly, but these, I don't know, I might do like a, I don't know, whatever. I don't know if that was 100 impressions in there, but you know, I just find that it when I do my shading and everything like that, if I do that with the stamp right here, this tiny rock small, it just, I don't know, it makes everything else that I have to do after that just go so much faster. And this is more effective too, I think, you know, from a textural form. All right, so, okay, I wanted to use some colored pencils in here as well, but let's go ahead and play around with the watercolor pencil first. Okay, I need practice with that. The more I do this, it's a good idea, but I might blend in some tones. Okay, so here's the weird thing. Okay, if I blend in here with the dye-based inks, I think that'll make this surface kind of more see-through, right? So, you know, and it would be super colorful in here. I don't know if I want that, maybe, but I'm not sure, because I just haven't played around with that type of dynamic before, you know, where it's like that type of thing is being revealed so so much. Usually, I'm kind of dealing with what you see is what you get. So that's where it starts off, and then I'm kind of blending it over with other imagery and tone, not adding something into it and then revealing it. I don't know. I haven't figured out how to kind of work around that yet, or how to utilize that in terms of a technique. Hopefully you guys get some of this paper, you know, and help to answer some of these questions. There are too many things that it seems like we can do with this. Okay, so here's another thing. Like here, this is the watercolor pencil. I'm astonished that we can even use colored pencils just directly onto any kind of holographic cardstock. Okay, so that was kind of bizarre too. On the printable vinyls you can, but this is just right directly onto the bare paper. I don't know, maybe the white one's the best one. I don't know. I think I was going to get just a single pack of one patterning or two. I think I like this. This dark blue one's really cool, but this white one though, you can see more as like it's its own really unique type of paper. But you can use it for, I think, different things, you know, different colors and whatever. So it might be a little bit more versatile. Let's see. Hello, in Missouri. I really enjoyed my Missouri trip. I think I've mentioned this before too. I always mention every time I see some state pop up like that, it always brings back memories. But I loved my Missouri teaching trip, going from it was I flew into St. Louis, but I think the class was in St. Charles is right next to St. Louis, right? But I drove out to that drive out to Columbia from St. Louis was quite something. With the it was like a lightning storm, electrical storm that night. And then St. Genevieve was like a really cool kind of historic town. That's where one of my clients was after that, after Columbia, and then I drove back up to St. Charles, so I was able to see the arch. I didn't stop there, but it's always cool just seeing. If you can just see something with your own eyes, even from the freeway or highway or whatever. It was kind of cool. At that time, I wasn't really taking too much extra time to see the sights, but if that was a little bit later, I would have left a day open and checked out some more some of the the I don't know, whatever typical tourist destinations, areas. Okay, so anyways, what I'm doing on here is I'm modeling my forms on my seaside cove like that. You see, there are darker areas on the seaside cove and lighter ones like the tops of these waves right here. So I'm trying to bring that out a little bit more by just adding in some extra tone to the dark areas and working around those lighter areas so it emphasizes the light like that. And plus we have these hard kind of lines going through here. So I'm kind of breaking them up a little bit like this, with some, extra shadow work or deeper shadows like this. I mean, the patterning is going to compete with, the things that we're putting on top of it. The things that I just don't want it to, my imagery just to get completely swallowed up where we can't really see what's been stamped over the top of it. I just want to use that, that top portion, or the foundation, not the top portion, but the foundation for, just some cool extra effects in there. They're I don't know if they'd call them bonuses. I mean, they're pretty, dominant in here. But this is what this is. This is what we're kind of going after. So I still need to stamp that imagery on the top there. So we can imagine some tree line right in here. Okay. I do think that, and I want to put that moon up here. So it's kind of weird, huh? So suddenly I put this up here, and do you notice how down here we can see all these blue tones down here? So I guess this lower portion is a little bit reflective, because I think that blue is reflecting down here like that. But see, we'll go like, like that. So it's just kind of it's a more whimsical kind of look, I think, how it'll look. It almost looks like clouds down here. Then just doing it on just like a straight, non-holographic, maybe blue foil up there would be something similar. But you see down here too, that those white clouds in there are kind of, they're translucent, so you get that bluish tinge showing through them, so they'll have some color to them too. So that's drying. And like I said, as it dries more and more, it becomes a little bit more transparent. And you can see this down here where I've done a little scratch right down in here. I don't know if you can tell right there, but see, this white is going to be very prone to removal with if you touch it or anything like that, or if you scratch it. So this one's definitely going to need to be spray sealed off, which is generally the case with these more glossy styles of finishes on holographic cardstocks. All right, good night, Patty. I got to see those northern lights one of these days, Anne. Okay, 115 miles from Bangor. Okay, at the very end of I-95. Is that the main drag there? I'm guessing so. If you're out there, of course, in the Northern Lights, that's always in the, like during the winter, right? I tell you, if you can be in Maine, like in that peak color area, I don't know if the Northern Lights, if you can see the Northern Lights in that in the fall, but that what a spectacular location that would be if you can be somewhere with those Northern Lights and all that fall color, you know. I was telling all my friends and everything like that after I did that Maine trip, when I was out there during all that fall color. I said, "Hey, I had that Acadia all to myself," and I was hiking around mostly during the weekday. And later on, it kind of occurred. I mean, I would have, I'm sure they get a lot of tourists there too, but if you're coming from like the neighboring states and everything like that, people in Maine don't need to go to Acadia. They're like absolutely surrounded by all that fall color all the time. Which what I thought about later on. It's like, they don't need to go. That's why I had like the entire like national park, empty in those days. These days, maybe probably not. But back then, like I said, I had that entire park to myself basically. At least all the trails. Never saw a single, the only people I saw on the trail were rangers doing trail maintenance. All right, so adding this down, we're kind of creating a little bit of a vignette. You go darker on the perimeter and leaving it lighter inside, okay? Now, here's the thing too. This is a watercolor pencil, so I'm going to be dragging in some colors, so I would usually go in a little bit farther, but I'm thinking I don't need to. I'm still working on my technique here with watercolor pencils. I have no idea what I'm doing still, but I'm just kind of fumbling around with the watercolors on my pieces. But I don't know. Hey, I like it so far though. But the other pieces that I've come up with so far, so I need to get kind of used to where to apply it and what to just don't bother with, because I think I'm still using this like I'm using a colored pencil or something of that sort. I'm doing like full gradations and then going into it with water and then just completely eradicating, what I just kind of worked towards doing. So as far as that goes, maybe don't follow my lead. All right, let's get some blue tones in here as well. Like this, I guess. Maybe this one's a little bit. Maybe this one's has a little bit of a. Let's go with this right. These two right here. Okay, you can see. I'm not lying. Most of these pencils, I've used the black so far. I just sharpened it, but most of these other ones I haven't even used at all. But I'm starting to apply a little bit more color into my pieces, as far as watercolor pencils go. Katahdin's just a few miles south of you. Yeah, I wanted to get out there. What are you using to stamp with? Anne, did you mean the inks that I used? The ink down here was StazOn, and up here the cloud was created with the Brilliance White, okay, which is important with this one. This right up here, That's really important because it'll dry on that type of surface, okay? Hard time figuring out what you were using, but I see you were using a very... Oh! That was the Tiny Rock Small right there. If that's the one you're talking about right here, that texture stamp. It's just rocks, you know, it's little pebbles. It's like the most, you know, kind of boring looking image, right? But then kind of the most boring looking images can often be the most universally applicable if they're a natural element and you're doing scenic stamping, because you can use it in every scene. You know, I use it in my water, anywhere where, you know, there's dirt and sand. I use it in my meadows, you know, in grassy meadows. You're saying, wait, what do you mean in grassy meadows? It just, you know, instead of just grassy textures, it really breaks up the textural forms and gives it a lot more kind of variety, textural variety, okay? All right, so I'm adding this blue in the same areas that I just did with the black. Okay, just to get a little bit of an extra tinge of color in here. Sometimes I'm wondering, you know, if I really need to apply the water to this at all, because sometimes the gradations look pretty good with just the pencils. Yeah, but I know that's you know, the point of the watercolor pencils is that you use them with water. So I'm going to do that. I'm going to see if the how the surface takes the colored pencils as well. Okay, but I might do the colored pencils after I do my water washes. Okay, just to see if we can get a little bit of extra kind of variation. Okay. Yeah, I know, CM. Isn't that wild? So I don't know. Okay, so do any of you have multiple brands of colored pencils? Excuse me, or watercolor pencils? What I want to know is if are these Derwent watercolor pencils, just in general, they feel softer to me than my already soft Prismacolors. So are all watercolor pencils in general kind of softer than just traditional colored pencils? Okay, yeah, I didn't, yeah, okay, good. I'm not forgetting St. Charles. Yeah, it was right next to St. Louis. Got it. Ah, you grew up in Southern Cal. I've lived in Southern California most of my life by now, you know, but I grew up, I don't know if you, when you lived in Southern California, did you travel around to like Central California at all, Santa Barbara area? I grew up in Lompoc. Which from, if you lived in California for a good amount of time, you might know where that is. Population at the time when I was living there, 20,000. But like in Maine, 20,000, it's a pretty decent sized city. So when I went to Maine, I felt, I don't feel uncomfortable in a big city, but I felt, pretty at home, when I was in like Augusta and all those, other cities. I forgot what other cities I went to. I didn't make it to northern Maine though, like Katahdin area or anything like that. Well, I can't even remember most of the cities, but I'd always start off in Rockport at Penn Ventures. All right, so see those blue tones in there? So see that, I mean, this is, the just really light applications of, a couple different colors and the black, of course. So, I mean, this is a pretty crazy paper that we're working on right here, in terms of that holographic patterning like that. But I think the imagery looks, this is light imagery too. It's not like those, hard, bold, big pine trees in front of here. So this is, a fairly light and airy image in here. But if you just do just a little bit of coloring over the top of it, it starts to stand out pretty decently on top of that white, on top of this white holographic. So that's that's pretty. I really like that. This whatever characteristic or property of this cardstock here. I guess it's that it's matte that's allowing me to do it. Okay, so here's some brown tones right here. I'm going to put this in the sandy area down below. Yeah, I think so, Linda. As long as I can get the island to transfer to that. So far I'm pretty pleased at how this is drying on here. I'm glad it's not drying even more transparent. That's about right there in terms of the whatever opacity. I'm still thinking some up here, but I don't know. This doesn't look like a nighttime scene right here, but I just think that moon will look kind of funky up there. And cool looking. So I think I still want to do that. Let's see. Oh, I-95 goes from Florida to Maine. Okay, got it. I love Maine, it was so easy to get around too, for me. Pre-navigation too, so I was always mapping things out on like MapQuest and printing out things. You can see the Northern Lights all year round. Okay. I didn't know that. I thought it was during certain times of year. Yeah. We're all coming to your house, Anne. Who else wants to see the Northern Lights at Anne's house? Post your address right here and directions. We're coming. Oh, I got to see Northern Lights in person one of these days. Actually, we're gonna come out. We're gonna come out to your place in the fall, so we can see all those fall colors by day, and the Northern Lights at night. Hello, Annie. Okay, what we used to spray on after, and would that work with chalks? Okay, so there's two different things here. I'm going to spray this top one probably with a Krylon triple thick. I might go with the spray fixative though, okay? Because this area down here, if I spray this too thickly with a thick spray, it makes these clouds a lot more transparent looking. They're not gonna be transparent, but it's gonna move them towards transparency, okay? But I might just give a real thin coat with a triple thick or I don't know, or I might just do a real thin coat with the spray fixative down here. Okay, so here's the thing. I don't want to make this real transparent because I want them to block out that area in the background. But I want this to remain nice and glossy, so if sometimes you spray it with like a matte spray, it'll make this look less kind of crazy. And I think if we're using this paper like this, you want it to retain a lot of the characteristics of it. That's why we're using it, So I don't want to just mute this whole thing out and just kind of, you know what I mean? We want it in its full, whatever, splendor, but just, you know what I mean? But working for us, okay? So I don't know. It might be a little bit different. But now on this one right here, we can spray it or not. But if I do spray it, though, it's going to be with the matte, okay? Because if I spray this with something too thick, I noticed it really, you lose that frosted, satiny finish on here, and it becomes almost like, it would be almost like this. You spray seal it with this, really thick on here. So a spray fixative that's designed to be workable and kind of give a lighter coating over the top of something and to dry instantly, that would probably be the better bet to go with something like this. But that being said, unless you're doing something where you really want all the colors of this paper to be showing through here, and you want it to be really vibrant and whatever, and you're just utilizing the satin matte finish to apply and grab your media. But then you want it to be much more vibrant and, you know, whatever, spectacular in terms of the color changes, then, you can do that too, I guess. So I don't know. I do think that there's just different approaches with this white one here. Okay. See what I mean? Like something like this, I would never be able to use colored pencils on. Okay. This silver right here, because it's just not going to grab it. So you can utilize just this down here just, for that purpose. I don't know how to use this one yet, in terms of tapping into its capabilities yet. Okay. This whole thing with this pencil thing, I kind of learned that. I think I don't know, was it yesterday? So I don't know. It's like suddenly we have this. This is kind of like the. It's kind of like the. This one's. I guess it's kind of. This one's kind of like the printable vinyl, I guess, in some ways. I guess we can almost think about it as printable vinyl in the ways that it can maybe accept media. I don't think I used watercolors, unless I don't remember. I don't know if I used the watercolors on the printable vinyl, or if that would even work. It has that emulsion coating, but this one doesn't. So I think that emulsion coating. Oh, I don't think the printable vinyl we can do the watercolors on it, because if you start painting on there, it gets really goopy feeling, because that one is made to, for water-based media, whatever acceptance. So I don't know. This one's a little bit different. So this in terms of the way that this one can accept probably the dry media, maybe, with especially with the white pigment ink applied to it. I don't know what I'm talking about here. When I was thinking about the printable vinyl, suddenly occurred to me, I'm thinking about the printable vinyl with the white brilliance on top of it. That accepts the colored pencil, okay? So this one already has this kind of frosty sheen over it, so, we don't have to do that. We don't have to apply that down there. But we can get it to disappear if we want to, with the spray sealant or, that the dye-based inks over the top of it. I'm afraid a lot of the questions in regards to some of the specifics with this white one, that's, I can only speculate. Like, I never would have thought these pencils would work on here, or the watercolor pencils, like yesterday, until I saw that little bit, little portion of it, get wet and dry. And it got my like brain spinning. Okay, let's see. There's a blue-gray here. I'm going for a little bit more of a brighter tone or a darker tone here. Let's see. Okay. Do you add water to your watercolor pencils before or after? I'm going to add it after, Candy. I'm just basically coloring this like I would with colored pencils. And the way that I've been using the watercolor pencils, I go into it with a wet brush and I drag that color around, okay? Now that's just the way I do it. But I don't know. I don't know what I'm doing with colored pencils. I'm just using it in probably a very conservative way, okay? So nothing that I do with the colored pencils, is probably the technique that you would, normally use if you're doing a whole watercolor piece, on, more traditional papers. Okay. Okay, CM, I think watercolor pencils are a little softer than my regular ones. Okay, than the regular colored pencils then, CM, you're talking about? Oh my God. Okay, well, Paula, you grew up in Santa Maria. Wait, you lived in Santa Maria. Oh, as a baby. Oh, okay. Yeah, that's where we did a lot of shopping, is in Santa Maria. My comic book store as a teen was in Santa Maria. They're not as smooth as Prisma. Or Arteza? Arteza, maybe. I haven't heard of Aziza. I think it's Arteza, right? Uh, Paula, this is the Mirri holographic matte white. Mirri holographic lava matte white. Paula's yeah. Paula's going to Maine as well. Oh yeah, China Lake. Yeah, that's in the middle of the desert. Oh, that's too bad. Yeah, you can't see the lights. I always see whenever I want to get away from the city lights, like if there's a meteor shower or something like that, we always have to go to. Well, we don't have to go to, but my go-to spot was always the deserts. Typically, we'd go to Joshua Tree, but now, like with social media and everything like that, all of those my kind of like my special kind of felt like private air, locations to go and view things. It's like just absolutely, you know, mobbed with people, even like in a meteor shower evening, instead of kind of being the only ones out in these areas, or like in the desert, in like the summertime or something like that. Man, there's like people rolling in, constant processions of people rolling in at you know 3 in the morning or something like that. It drove me nuts. All right, so anyways, that is that. Now we'll go into this with some. I'm being a little bit too conservative here. Let's hit this area down here with a little bit more color. I'm not sure what color. When I'm thinking about sand or something like that, but let's bring in some other color. Yeah, let's see, maybe let's hit this with some blue down here too. So this is a little bit of tan. Let me go like harder down here. So if you just joined in, this is a holographic cardstock, and you can't do this with a lot of holographic cardstocks. Okay, it's just most holographic cardstocks are kind of more of a glossy finish, and this one's like a matte. That's what they call it, but it's more of like a satiny finish. So it is accepting my applications of colored pencil on here without too many problems. I don't know if you can't, if you're a colored pencil artist and you're used to building up, 4 or 5 layers of colored pencil, like in a very textured or cross hatching style, you may not be able to do something like that. But I don't know. This is, just shockingly, whatever, open to, media on here. Traditionally, media that traditionally requires paper with a little bit of tooth to it, texture, to grab onto. Hello, Froggy Fresh. Okay, let's see. Let's get our bearings here. This isn't a reflection card. I call these a horizon card, just where this top portion represents your, this line right here, in the piece represents your horizon right there. And so this top portion is basically going to be sky or anything vertical. from this base right here, okay? So let's see. I'm going to put a moon up here. I just think that'd be kind of funky. And if it doesn't look good, I'll just show you how to erase it. You know, it'll erase right off of there, you know, without any problem. In fact, I was stamping some of the, I guess you can use this too, you know, you can put some glue on the back of it and just tape it like that if you want something really light. But I'm going to stick with my media here, you know, for a little bit more continuity between this moon and the surrounding area. Let's see. Before I do that, though, let's put a little bit of a, like a haze where this moon is going to be. Right around in here. And we'll see if we can make this moon look like it's kind of glowing. So let me see if I can show you what I just did there. See that area like that with the white? So you have to do this before, you know, you put your moon down here with the, you know, your stencil like that. Because if you go like this over the top of it, on this type of paper, what you're going to be doing is you're going to be putting this around your moon, hopefully. But what you're going to be end up doing is you're going to be tapping this around that moon, and you're going to be removing white off of that because, you know, this is such a non-porous slick surface here. Okay, so let's see. So let's add this in here at this point in time like this, and we'll get a good slathering like this in here. You can kind of vary it too a little bit. Like I'm kind of adding a little bit heavier on the top. And let's see if that looks okay, and I think that looks okay. See, it's a little bit lighter on the bottom. Now remember, this is going to dry more see-through, so if you want it to get lighter and it dries too see-through, then just go back over it and apply another layer right over the top of it. Well, Candy, I haven't gotten to the water yet. I have to apply all, you know, like I said, I apply it later. I think you're thinking about watercolors, though, on probably like matte papers, like traditional watercolor usage. I'm not using it like that. I'm using it more like a watercolor. I'm using it more like colored pencils that I want a watercolory look to, okay? I'm not using it as like a traditional watercolor painting or something like that, where you would probably use it with waters or something like that. I'm not watercolor painting here. Or where you might not even be able to tell where it's watercolors, probably. Let's see. Where is Linda? What did you do with her? Someone call the authorities to go do a wellness check on Linda again. She read the message board when she got back from her trip, and she said she was cracking up at the message board, and I knew what she was talking about because we were like saying, "Hey, where's is Linda okay? Can someone check on her?" But I don't know, when was it? A couple weeks ago, someone knew that she was on vacation and traveling. Okay, so there, I've added that down there a little bit. I guess I didn't need to add more down there like that, but because I'm going to have that island mountain down here anyways. I don't know if let me see. Or not the island mountain, but the Palm Island. I don't know. Yeah, well, Linda's there. Okay, so see that right there? So see that right there? See those little cloudy areas right in here like that? I'm going to bring some additional white pigment ink down here so that we're going to get that kind of that cloudy, kind of misty look right in here just to complement that texturing up there, okay? So these areas right in here, I mean, it doesn't like, I mean, nothing's going to match that look down here, but you get a little bit of that texturing in here, with that holographic kind of showing through like that. So it gives it something in the landscape to relate to this, ultra crazy, you know, sky up there. So I think using this white Mirri lava to pair with the white, I mean the light blue, believe it or not, that's light blue Mirri lava up top. I think it's better than just going on with if someone had it, okay, than just the white cardstock down here. There's other things that we can try to do to get them to harmonize a little bit more. And I would do that if I didn't have it, and I wouldn't miss it, but I don't know, I don't know, that helps. Look at that. That's how you lose things. It's when it's like stuck to your arm. All right, so I'm looking for my little paintbrush here. Where's my small paintbrush? Oh, here we go. All right, so Candy, here comes the watercolor pencils. The way that I'm going to use it, you're going to say, what? I can't even see what you're doing. And to tell you the truth, I don't know if I could see what I'm doing either with this Mirri lava. Okay, so here's the weird thing for me on here is when you go on here, I don't know if you'll be able to see it or not, but when you go on here, when I'm blending out some of this, it's turning. I can't even tell what I'm doing, but so you see that right in there where it turned blue? It's because, when you make something on here, that Mirri, if you just joined in like that, it makes that frosted surface completely see-through, okay? So you can't really tell what you've done. This is the thing with this watercolor on here. See, as I put this back into solution, it's making that surface very, very transparent. And I can't see what the watercolor pencil paints are doing on there. So I can't tell what it looks like until it dries. And then it returns to its kind of frosted appearance, but with that, watercolor paint media spread out on there. So this is like, here's a bunch of the browns right in here. And I'm just kind of pulling some of these through in here, as well as some of the black and blue that I've applied in here. But I can't tell what it looks like at all because it makes kind of the watercolors see through as well. So it's not going to look like that. Now see that area in here, it dried out, right? So it's just, I don't know, it's kind of a funky kind of process right here. Now, okay, now like I was saying though, maybe you use this for like some sort of effect. What's that type of ink where you stamp it on something and it gives kind of a watermark? Is that VersaFine or not VersaFine, but Versamark, right? I have a feeling that you can stamp stuff in like a Versamark on this, and it will stay permanently like transparent like that against that field, which would be really cool in this paper because it would look really holographic. And the rest of it would be a more muted, kind of frosted looking holographic. So you might be able to stamp some kind of cool imagery. I don't know if it'd be, maybe not landscape, scenic stamping or something like that. But if you had like a word stamp that was nice and bold and you used it on here with a Versamark, right? Isn't that the thing? I think that could be used with kind of interesting results. Okay, so I'm just going into these areas and I'm just kind of pulling this out a little bit. I just want to kind of look nice and kind of smoother, in terms of my applications of it. Applications of just the bare, you know, uh, media, watercolors. But like I said, I don't know if I really need to do it. I think it looked okay before, but and it kind of gives it a little bit more of a washy feel, I guess. So you can really tell the color of the paper too. It's more of that light blue holographic in there, okay? But you can see where I've pulled my water tones in there. And see this down here, this is kind of drying a little bit more, so you can see where I'm kind of dragging some of that media across and blending it across like that. Kind of looks a little bit more rainbowy down there though. All right, something like that right there. Oh, I was gonna grab my other palm frond. Oh well, I'll grab that later. Okay, so remember, this is not what this is looking like right now because it hasn't dried on here yet. But that blue actually looks pretty good in there, where it's just wet right now, so that's going to completely disappear. All right, let's get the show on the road. Let's get our kind of main horizon imagery stamped out, and I'm going to do that in my Brilliance Black because it's nice and thick, and I think I'll have kind of an easier transfer of this onto that dried white Brilliance on here, okay? And I'm saying that because I think StazOn would have a possibility of doing that too, but I think the StazOn, there would be a danger of you stamping it into this white. Most of it's dry, or, I don't know, whatever, 50% dry, 60%, but then you might remove it, and instead of this, the StazOn transferring onto that white because it's not adhered, you might just be removing all of that white, and kind of giving more of like a reverse impression into the white. Which again, that's like, that could be another type of technique that you do on there, which is cool. I really like doing reverse impression stamping into foils, like gold foils and stuff like that. I don't know. I don't know if I've done it with something like this type of crazy foil pattern types of papers. Okay. So let's do this. Let's go about 2/3 right here. Okay. 2/3 into the length of this right side application, and I'll probably have another one on the left side, but just a smaller portion of the Palm Island. Okay, I'm going to keep this down here for a little bit and let that ink transfer. Isn't that going to smear the colors everywhere? What's that? You mean the watercolors? Well, that's kind of the idea, is to pull them around a little bit like that. Let's see. Okay, I got a decent application. It pulled some of the white off a little bit, but I think the most part it was a transfer over there. You can see in there, in those little spots like that. They call it, I don't know if they call it, it's similar to something they call fisheye. It's where something kind of moves around. It's like this wet media on there, but it's a dark enough impression. So I'm pretty pleased with that. Okay, I'm just going for the small one right here. Let me see. You're going to get 2004. Town is expecting to overflow. Oh, people to see the eclipse. Is that a lunar or solar eclipse? All right, so we have that like that. Okay. I might add a little bit of tone down here. I'm not sure. I'll see if I need it. Just to anchor the island down a little bit more. Maybe not. Let's take a look here. Okay, now let's see. Okay, this doesn't look too bad. Okay, so see that? That is completely dry now. And you can see where, hopefully you can see. I don't know, I think it kind of smoothed out some of the applications in there. I mean, if I look at it close up, it's just, it's less kind of textural. And I like texture, but okay, now I'm assessing here. I'm trying to decide if I want to add a little bit of tone to that. And I don't think I do. I think I like that lightness in kind of those sandy areas, kind of reflecting the moonlight up there. If this was like a deep sunset, type of holograph, like let's say we go vertical with this, in the background for like this, I don't know, a different type of look in the background. I think I might black those out down there where those colors of this aren't just showing right through the island, okay? But in this case, I don't think I need to do that. And I think that looks okay as is. Unless I want to add a little bit of shadow down here into my water, onto the seaside cove where, this is kind of reflecting down here and creating a little bit of shadow. Maybe I'll do a little bit of that. Okay, let me see. Let me get my bearings here. Okay, so that goes to about right there. I'm just going to add a little bit of shading right there. I'm not going to... Oh, here, let me see if this colored pencil works on here. I don't see why it wouldn't. Yeah, the colored pencils work on here just fine. So this right here, I'm just kind of adding that little shadow like that. Okay, you're not gonna, the shadow's not gonna extend down here too far because, this is like quite some ways in the distance, but okay, that barely shows. I would need to add more, but let's add a little bit more. And also, I have like some different colors in these pencils that I don't have with the watercolor pencils. Here's one of my favorites right here that I seem to use on everything. This is unbelievable. So you can use this pencils just directly on top of this this type of paper here. This holographic white foil. Okay, so see that right there? I've kind of just extended that blue down a little bit. So you can do it this way, or I guess you can just take like a, like an alcohol pen probably and do a little swipe in there, even with a clear alcohol, and it might make it transparent where it reveals the blue in there. All right, so see that right there? Oh, I'll be like that. God, that is so weird. Look at that. It's like a completely different color scheme like that than when you go like that. All those purples and violets like that. All right. Huh. Okay. All right, let me just do this. I was going to add some other palm fronds down here, but maybe I wouldn't have even had room. I'm going to go with the stays on down here. I'm going to stick with the stays on down here on this lower portion. So right now I don't have to do anything to this if I don't want to. I don't have to spray seal it or anything because everything is nice and adhered to it, no problem. If I use the Brilliance Black on this, I might have to spray seal it. It might give me kind of a little bit of a thicker looking foreground image though, which would be cool. Or if you want to, do something that might be even cooler, is you might do that something like this, with like embossing powder. You can, not with the stays on ink, of course, but use like a clear embossing over black imagery in here to have this raised a little bit. But I don't know, the stays on seems to do the trick here in terms of creating, some decent dimension. Like about like so. Okay. I was thinking about splatter painting up here, but I think the more conservative approach would just be to hand add in some stars in there. And I know you wouldn't be able to see the stars in a full moon like that, but in this piece, it just kind of stabilizes the that area up there a little bit. Actually, I might do some slight. I'll just do this really lightly with the splatter painting up here. I just don't want to get a bunch of like, kind of straggler dots kind of in front of my trees and moon or something like that. But I think if I just do this real sparingly, it'll be fine. Yeah, I don't, in other words, I don't want to make it look like it's snowing in here. Froggy Fresh was going to send the cops out to your house again, Linda, for that wellness check. We care, Okay. I need to be careful because every time I touch my thumb down here, if I touch it into anywhere of that white, it removes it. Like, say I put my thumb right there and it kind of removed a little bit of that. Okay, so the trick is I'm just releasing a couple little bristles at a time for control. So you don't have to do that whole kind of zip, like zip, where it's like really loaded with a ton of paint. Okay, so here's my little dots. I hope you can see it. I hope I can get it at an angle you can see it. Can you see those in there? So I did it mostly from here, like from here up. Okay, I didn't go down here too much. There's like a straggler dot or two down there. Okay, but that's yeah, that's all I'm going to do with that. And I'm just going to put some hand added stars up there with the paint pens. I'll do them, and maybe I'll utilize some colors too, maybe. Yeah, Paula, I hope you like these different card stocks like this. I have fun playing around with them too, especially if I learn something with them. And I mean, I try to keep a real open mind these days, but these different card stocks, like even the same card stock from one color to the next, like this, from this light blue to this more matte satiny dark blue, but especially this one. This thing, it's got its own characteristics to it. So you can really utilize it in a lot of different ways. I think, I've all did the, I started, kind of utilizing it in a different way like yesterday, literally. you know? But I'm saying, if you can do like watercolors on it, all right, I gotta think that it's going to be open to other things. I was telling someone that this might even be able to take a small application of something like pastels. You might have to, spray fix it or something like that. Okay, here's the stars on there. See those stars like that? You get everything kind of moving in the background, but you see this little row of stars like that? You have at least something up in that area that's stable, that's not moving around, okay? So you have something stationary. We have the moon too, of course. And the imagery down here in the clouds, but that's kind of now largely a separate area up there. But having that little stabilizing thing up there, I told someone that's like, someone that, if you're prone to getting seasick, they say that if you look at something kind of stationary, on the horizon or back on shore, it'll help. So with something like this, I think it's kind of a stabilizing type of thing up there. You can put like a quote stamp or a word stamp up there or something like that, or anything up there, imagery. I don't know, you'd put imagery up here, but I think that helps it quite a bit in terms of being something that's kind of usable with scenic stamping at least, okay? All kinds of other possibilities, birthday cards and stuff like that, with birthday imagery and just, doing cutouts and things like that, crickets and placing it over the top of these types of papers and whatnot. I think that would be really cool too. But I don't know, using it in this type of space right here, I think it's really fun. It's it's definitely wild though too. You know what I mean? It's it it doesn't. I don't know. I don't see this as like tranquil up here. Okay, the bottom portion kind of it's contrasting against it, and I do find it kind of tranquil looking. But I don't know. That's kind of the fun of it too. Is to kind of play around with kind of our extremes a little bit. And plus, when you're doing, I don't know, when you're doing something, it could be something that you already have. If you're just treating yourself to, something that we haven't seen before, and it's just kind of developing right before your eyes. I think it's kind of a nice treat for ourselves as, whatever, stampers and, whatever, people, creative, I don't know, creative individuals. It's fun doing that type of or seeing that type of thing. Um, whatever develop. Okay, so let's add some of this white pigment ink down here. So I told someone we're going to do that little workshop on utilizing white pigment ink for fog and mist. Okay, so on something like this, I'm looking for opportunities to add this. And again, it's areas where light meets a darker area, okay? So if things aren't dark enough, we're not going to be able to see white. Like, if I'm applying it on here, white on white is completely invisible. So let's say I have a clump of these little grasses in some area. And if I want a little bit of this mist, you're applying it where light meets a darker area, object or space. So you can see where I'm kind of manipulating this little cluster of, I don't know, let's call it grasses or something like that. Okay, cattails or something like that if that was on the water. Okay, so you can see it where that has come into that space right there. So that's what I'm doing on here. So I'm looking for a light area and an area that's, darker next to it. So something like this around. Now, Q-tip would be better for this. Let me see. Okay. Let me just try to do this. I'm really kind of making this really narrow like that. Okay. And I'm coming into this area right in here. It's really great for like your waterside areas and your lakes or something like that. The water's edge. If you have a light area next to some shadowed area, it's really great for things like waterfalls where you have that waterfall going into splashing down and the water's churning and there's like mist or something like that. It's great around clouds, of course. Any kind of sky figures, stars, you can have some stars glowing. Now, right around in here, things aren't terribly dark, so there's not a ton of contrast in here, but I'll just try to emphasize it a little bit more in here so you can see it, hopefully. But do you see that kind of those softer areas right in here now? Like especially right down here. See that area right in here looked like this. It was sharper like that. So I've just kind of creeped a little out like that so that you have a little bit of that contrasting textural forms. It's soft and, crisp right around in those areas. Now, let's take a look at some of these sea turtles right here. Okay, so some of them are a little bit lighter. Some of them stamped out lighter, and just by accident, I didn't intend to do that. But you can just kind of go for it, just kind of stick with it and just kind of, let's put a little bit of mist over, these ones that just stamped out lighter so it looks a little bit more intentional. And then let's put some over a couple of these little turtles in the distance here. So they're kind of moving next to that kind of, misty water's edge or wave's edge like that. And maybe it's kicking up some other type of, whatever ocean spray like that. So see that right in there? See where those turtles are a little bit lighter? But again, this is kind of the lighter area right in here. I'm not going to do them all out, but you kind of oscillate a little bit where there's kind of lighter ones and darker ones. You can put some more over here if you want. But the thing is just to kind of oscillate things a little bit more. Now I need to be careful here. I think some of that area in here is, I have that watercolor pencil in there, so I noticed it got a little smudgy just now, and I forgot this is a water-based pigment ink, and I think I just put some of that water-based, watercolor pencil back into solution there. So, be aware of that, if you're, working around something like that. All right, then let's go in and add some little splashing textural forms in here. I'm doing this with the light blue. I should really do it with the white probably. But let's hit it with some light blue first. We'll try to make this kind of area down below here shimmer a little bit. Okay, this is something I haven't been doing too. But I thought with one of those last pieces, if I could find my silver, I can't tell if that's gray or silver. Oh, here's the silver, I think. So this one's a silver pen like this. And I thought on some of these shimmery pieces that are supposed to be water, I thought those would look kind of cool with some silver types of touches on there. Hello, Vintage Scrap Girl. Happy Friday to you. All right, good night, Anne. Anne's probably gone. Candy, you're probably a master at watercolor pencils. I barely used them before, so I'm using them like super conservatively. That's why I was saying, for people that are kind of watching me use the watercolor pencils, don't do it, learn from someone that really knows what they're doing. Not me. I'm like, I have yet to take like watercolor pencil 001. I wouldn't even be taking like 101. Let's see. It'll be interesting to see how the wet spray paint will react. The spray sealant can make it transparent. like on this lower section right here, I'm going to use the a spray fixative. I'll probably use a spray fixative just to make it a little bit shinier. Just because this one is just so crazy shiny up here. Or this would be an instance where I wonder if using the matte fixative up here might be better just to mute this one a little bit, you know, to make it put a little bit of frost on it because this lower portion is just so frosty, looking. I don't know. I don't think I would use the triple thick down here. Okay, so here's silver. All right. So I'm just kind of adding the. Is that even? Yeah. I couldn't even see it here. So I'm adding this down in my area. I probably won't go into the really light areas because if you put that silver in white, it looks dark. Yeah, I don't know. Yeah, it looks like you can use it wherever you want. But this is going to give us that little bit of a extra reflective quality, which is going on like crazy in the sky. So why not add some of it down here in the water? Okay, I could barely see where I'm adding it myself here, and I'm the one that's doing it here. But let's see if when I hold this up, if we can see those little shimmery little effects from having used this. Okay. All right, so let's see if we can benefit from that at all. Okay, let's see. Yeah, a little bit. You see it kind of in those areas, especially where it's kind of light on dark. It's invisible, but then when it catches the light, you see how those little things kind of come out? I don't know if you can really see it down here at all because it's already super light. And it is the reflective, holographic material that we're on. I can't really see it. Nah, okay, so I can see it in person now that I'm looking directly at this. I'm looking at my screen, but when I look at this right in here, at a certain angle, when it's really reflective, all these little dots kind of come to life a little bit more. All right, let's see. All right, so those are those little splashes. Okay, here. It would have been, okay, this is still soft. This Dr. Martens dries on here really fast. So it's not, I find you really have to wash off your brush every time you use this. Like if I use this tomorrow, I need to wash this off because when I dip it in here, if the bristles are too soft, it doesn't really spray really nicely for me. But this is still, the bristles are still nice and supple, so I'm just going to take some more ink in here. And let's hit it down in these areas right in here, right around these splashing waves, or crashing waves, and get some of that, I don't know, whatever, spray mist. Boy, I can really see all those silver dots in there. I wish I could zoom in or show you guys that a little bit more. Like at a certain angle, all that silver really comes to life right in there. Okay, so I'm going really close in here. I don't want to give just a general spray pattern. I want to get it kind of more targeted, so I'm going really close to here, okay? If you do this, just make sure you don't have so much paint in your toothbrush that it's going to, you don't want it to drip on here. Or you can just tilt it like this and come like this, so if it does drip, it drips down here as opposed to dripping, onto your card surface. All right, so I don't know if you can see that at all, but see this down here? That little spray pattern right in there. And then I also have it right over here. Don't look at my thumb. All right, so that is that. Let's get this taped down. Let's get this formatted here. I can't tape this one down yet because if I run a tape runner on the back of this, that is all going to come off you know, onto whatever I set this on. So this needs to be spray sealed first, but we can at least tell what it's going to look like here. So these cards come together pretty fast because I'm not like matting this at all either, you know, and double matting it like I usually do with these horizon or reflection cards. I just, you know, it's just dropping the individual components into, you know, your card, your I think I just touched that with a, I don't know, was my thumb wet or something like that? And I just wipe it off like this. Okay. Lower portion like that. You can see that holographic lava look in there. And here is our top portion like that. So, memories of Maine. Not really. All right, so that's our horizon card like that. My first attempt with the crazier version of one of the crazier versions. The gold is crazier, I think. But this one's the second most extreme of these Mirri lava holographics, used in conjunction, I guess, with the most kind of mellow and conservative, if you can call it that, of the white holographic down here, just with very traditional kind of applications of media over the top of it. So I don't know. I mean, I use the stays on the top of it, and you can, you know, this whole area up here could have just been done with colored pencils, and that was one of the first, you know, types of media that, you know, I saw used in rubber stamping, you know, back in the 80s. So I mean, you can do a lot of what's going on down here just with straight colored pencil. And up here, I mean, it's a pretty, you know, just, you know, the technique here is adding on that cloud in the background and then just stamping over the top of it. So top portion for me, the thing that was really needed was, you know, again, like so many other things, just black and white brilliance ink up top there. And I think that, okay, so let's say you have white brilliance ink, but you don't have the black one, and you're worried about getting a good impression over the top of the white with, you know, a black ink. If you don't have this one, I would spray seal this before the black impression, and then I would come into the black impressions with like a stays on probably. And what you would be doing is you'd be stamping the sealant as opposed to, you know, the white brilliance ink that's been applied on top of that. So I think that would work just fine. And yeah, I can't think of too many other types of things to say about this this white Mirri lava paper. It's really kind of surprised me in terms of its capabilities here, in what it can handle and how it handles media. And again, it's that matte surface, whatever they put on here. So if anyone's just joined in, this is another example of the matte white Mirri lava here. And that's where, instead of applying, you know, this, you know, white moon up here, this was just placed over the top of the white, you know, surface like that, and dye-based inks were applied to it where it just permanently looks like an exposed piece of the foil, but colorized, you know, with the, you know, with these two colors right here. All right, just like a, you know, yellow and red. The yellow is completely underneath the red, and then I just brought the red down over the top of it so you can see that little transition of, I don't know if you can tell right in here, it's a little bit orange and then red up top like that. So that was added to that after I realized what was going on with the that frosted type of look, and, you know, the potential removal of it with media just permanently applied. And then if you just joined in, one of the things I was showing people earlier is I spray sealed this, but I had to be really careful because that spray sealant makes all of that frosted kind of area kind of disappear. It's almost like, if you spray sealed over something like say your headlamp or something like that was totally weathered, out in the sun exposure. Then if you spray something, it looks a lot more transparent. Well, that's kind of what's happening with this type of surface on top of the white Mirri paper. So I don't know. I think it's pretty cool in terms of an effect. How we can kind of utilize that to our advantage, though, I haven't really figured that one out yet. Besides, stamping into it and just revealing that other type of texturing and coloration to it. Like I said, I think playing around and just stamping some imagery directly into it, maybe with that Versamark or something like that. Or if you want to do it with the color, that would work too. Maybe do it in the light color, because it'll look like a dark impression against a frosted white lighter area, I think. I don't know. There's probably some other types of things imagery that would look really cool on there. Candy, you rarely use your Inktense pencils since I got the blocks applied with a wet brush. I need to use those Inktense blocks. But I don't. Is that some of the things that you're using on your pieces when you post them? Whatever you work in multiple mediums though, huh? Yeah, I don't know how to do that stuff. That's I need to learn though. Glad you like it, Paula. So Linda, you were saying you weren't sure about those kind of louder ones, and I'm still not sure. You know what I mean? Again, this is a pretty conservative type of technique over it. You know what I mean? Utilizing that kind of louder Mirri, because basically what I'm doing is I'm just kind of blocking it off, and stamping stuff that looks like it's in front of it, but. So as busy as this one is, again, I think this one is even busier, in the gold right here. And it seems more contrasty to me. I don't know that. Maybe this one's just the warm version of that. And this one's the cool version, in terms of like color temperatures, maybe. I'm not sure. But I would compare and contrast this one against my other one. I might have given it away, though, at that Copictopia workshop. But I have that other baby sea turtles one where I use the that holographic glitter for my water. Actually, I don't think I gave that one. I think I would have given that one away. I think I'm saving that one still. But I don't know, I'll have to take a look at that and see which one I might prefer. If I don't know. This one's like the latest one, so I kind of like that. Glad you liked it, Jeffrey. Thanks for checking it out. CM, in years past, I usually didn't recommend so many things, At some point in time, I just figured, all right, some people are like struggling with some certain types of things. So I just say, all right, just get the Brilliance black and white. You know what I mean? Stuff to utilize on here. But I would say that white there, in addition to the printable vinyls, I love the printable vinyls. But this thing, I don't know. It's almost like playing around with just a kind of more exciting, let's see, what would we liken this to? Like maybe like a semi-gloss white cardstock, except it has all those other kind of what is it? It's not subcutaneous, it's whatever, multi-level, variations in here that you can either kind of mute a little bit, or you can bring them out. and everything in between. So I think this paper down here can get as crazy, and maybe not as crazy as this, but if I really spray sealed this, you can see, how kind of vivid those other colors are, or that patterning is below this. I think that the white is probably the thing that they put over the top of like a silver one, I'm guessing, so that they would have a different color that they can market just by spraying it. That's what I'm guessing is going on with this. So they're using some sort of other type of spray coating over the top of that is adhered to it really well and can take media. So it's a little bit absorbent like that. So maybe did you get some of the, oh, okay, and crustaceans. What is that with the crustaceans? Crystals. Oh. I was going to say we can put some, like, I was thinking, Froggy Fresh. I'm just reading this, like, I didn't read down there, but you can put some, like, crabs out here or something like that. I don't know. There's some other types of things that we can put up in with that thing. Okay, so I have this Creature of the Black Lagoon stamp. With that sky up there like that, I think that would be perfect for that Creature of the Black Lagoon stamp, where we have them like coming out of the water like this. Or maybe the Creature of the Black Lagoon would be on this vertical portion. I wouldn't have the palm tree island like that, but I'd have like the Creature of the Black Lagoon coming out of this right here. And this is like a smaller, like little pond or something like that. But I think that'd be cool for Halloween. Mario Mushroom. I don't know what that is. I saw the mushroom up there. Interesting conversation right here. I have enough cardstock laying around to open a shop. So many of us do. That's the thing. That's what got me using these other types of surfaces. I had amassed, mostly it was the iridescent ones though. It was a lot of Stardream. I mean, yeah, Stardream, right? Yeah. The Stardream papers. And then I had like these pearl, not pearlescent. I forget that Pearl X. No, not Pearl X is a paint, isn't it? Or an ink or something like that. I don't know. It was another Stardream type of thing, but I had so many of those. I like putting bats over the moon. That would be perfect. I don't have a bat stamp. No, Froggy Fresh. I need to do like a good one where they're kind of flying off into the distance like that, or light enough like that. Oh, a bat signal? We can do a bat signal. Let's see. You can probably cut one out, and make a little bit of like a stencil would be cool with that one. Bats would be cool too, because I like doing those cave scenes. Oh, that's what I was going to do too. I was thinking about one of those. I forgot what cardstock I had. Maybe, I don't know, maybe I was thinking about the Mirri lava here, but I want to do something where this is the pattern in like a pond or something like that. So I do like I was thinking about a cave or something like that, but in the lower section down here, not using the black one like this. Or I guess you could, but I'd have these rocks up here, and in the water, we would just have it just the regular Mirri lava like that, so that would move around like that on us down in those liquid areas like that. So, stuff like the boulders and stuff like that. And then you just have them surrounding an area. So instead of something like this, where this is clouds, surrounding, open sky like that, I'd put, the white pigment ink around it and we'd stamp on top. I've done that a lot of times in the past. But I thought this would be cool for like that, some sort of water texture, because that's what it really reminds me of a lot of times. It looks, well, it's lava, right? It's like some liquid form moving, so we'd use it for more of a liquidy type of surface. Yeah, I've been using it as sky. I thought this would be too crazy though for the Seaside Cove. I thought we wouldn't be able to see the, the little waves and striations if we have like this running through all of that. That's why I didn't do it in there. But I think, sir, for some other type of application, water would be really cool. Froggy Fresh wants a pet bat. I was just watching a show on fruit bats were in there. People like the sea turtles, huh? Sea turtles are cute. I get it's every time I watch those kind of documentary on sea turtles hatching and kind of racing for their lives down to the water, and I see these seagulls and crabs and snakes going after them. I was like, someone should, and I know that's nature and everything like that, but I want them to, create like a enclosed type of I don't know, whatever wire basket directly from the nets down to the water or something like that. Oh, there goes the pet fruit bat there. You beat me to it there. Yeah, I don't hear about pet bats too often. Yeah, that moon in there, I think the moon, I think it looked fine without the moon, but having kind of a focal point up there in the sky, I mean, I think it would have been fine. If I guess maybe if I didn't have that moon up there, I'd want some sort of word stamp. So, on this one right here, I did the sky is the daily bread of the eyes. I have yet to spray seal it, but it seemed like it was missing something up in that kind of big open sky, even with all of that kind of motion and action up there. I thought some sort of kind of focal point word stamp worked, pretty decent for these pieces like that. So this one right in here had, some of these crystal stars up there, but I don't know, I just think that word stamp really works really well. So I didn't want to do it on here. I thought this was just too busy up here for like a word stamp to be readable. So that's hence the just the big moon up there, as some sort of a focal point. Plus, it creates a little bit of a kind of a dialogue between like these sea turtles here and that moonlight right in here. I heard that's how they kind of figure out how to move or where, what direction to go in when they hatch. It's like, I think it was like some horizon glow or something like that I was reading in terms of lighting. So, so these things are, these turtles, maybe not that one right here, but these ones are kind of going like right up in that direction right there. So creates a little bit of that visual dialogue between kind of light source and the reflected light down in here, because this area in here is kind of a little spotlit area for our kind of main subject matter, or the stars of the scene. Paula's got white brilliance ink and some others. You are set, Paula. So, Paula, so if you have some of those other colors too, like I was doing like these colors on here, just black, but I was thinking if I had like black and like a darker blue or a lighter blue, you might be able to do like these types of layers with your objects, or you can go kind of in a thematic color scheme too. Like, some of these, if it was like a purplish tone or something like that, I think that would be, pretty cool. Or if you have silver on there. And, but I think that would be kind of interesting to do that. Or you can go thematic with your colors up here. Maybe have all of your stars kind of a, whatever, violet tinge or something like that. I thought that would be cool. And I do have the silver and gold brilliance in addition to the black and white, but I don't use them quite as often as I used to. I find that the gold one, I really love the gold. But it dries and it kind of creates that plasticky crust over the top of it, and I know it kind of seals off the pad. So if I don't use it, I have to use kind of a lot of ink to ink it up. So maybe if I'm doing like a few cards one week where I'm using that gold one, I'll take the time to ink it up and, utilize it. But I don't want to do it for like one card. But all the other inks I don't have to do that with. I think it's just in particular with the metallics and with the gold specifically. All looks difficult, but hopefully not. Well, I don't know, Paula. If you watch the videos on the previous like 3 cards, they're like 5-minute cards, maybe 10 minutes. I don't know. I don't know what. So here's the thing that I was thinking about. A lot of times I'll post something and it's like, oh, okay, that looks like super hard to do. We're not doing this though. That's the paper itself, okay? And I think that's what some people don't do something because okay, they think, okay, I'm never going to be able to do that. We're not doing the card. This is just stamped in black and white ink around here. Well, especially like this one. This is like 3 stamps on here, stamped in black or white ink over the top of it, but it looks kind of cool. So hopefully they look kind of like, intricate or whatever in terms of the finish on there, but in terms of application, it's not hard to do. You're just stamping on it. On those ones, on this one, I utilize more things, but this is like a colored pencil technique. Stamping something down on a white piece of paper. Basically, I had, this one was watercolors here, but like I said, I think we could bypass the whole watercolor aspect of it and just colored in there with colored pencils. I just like practicing with with the watercolor pencils. And this one too, this one was the watercolor pencils and I just kind of smudged it around. But you could have just, left it in its more colored pencil type of formatting and just left it at that, and I think it looks pretty good. Sometimes I'm wondering if going in there with my wet brush and kind of moving things around if it's improving it or if it's kind of detracting from, the shadow work that I did with the just straight colored pencils there. So it's more like, and these two right here, it's like colored pencil work. You need a collection of creatures to add to the scenes. A nice kraken coming from from the deep. Yeah, I want to do. So another one that I want to do a series is kind of for a Halloween and stuff like that. But yeah, creatures to add to these pieces. One of the pieces that I don't know, a lot of people seem to like is that Creature of the Black Lagoon. I don't know if I want to draw that one, but I wish, what was his name that did that? Ken Brown. That's a Ken Brown stamp. Of course, he's copying, probably a copyrighted, creature, unless it's like public domain at this point in time. Like, Frankenstein and that type of thing. But, yeah, stuff like that would be pretty fun. Whimsical stuff, And it changes the character of the pieces altogether. If we had like on this one right here, if you did like a Loch Ness monster piece or something like that instead of that boat, that whole scene changes completely in terms of the character of it. So yeah, we need to do stuff like that. All right, so everyone, hope you enjoyed this new piece here. I really didn't know about this, especially this top section, and I didn't know if the bottom section would work out with, I don't know, whatever the applications that I used on there. But I don't know. You might, if you get the hankering for, I don't know, playing around with some new types of not new types, I guess playing around with some kind of existing types of techniques, but you're just looking for, you know what I mean? Like I said, this is like what I'm doing on a white piece of paper, okay? You've seen me do like a lot of this thing before, but this, I don't know, this adds in, that extra little something, and I don't know, it's not even double. I think it's like a lot of, extra kind of an end result appearance the white one right here is what I would recommend getting if you're going to get one. Unless you like those kind of those nighttime ones. Those, this blue one here is really fun to work on too. This matte blue right here. And I think black, white, and silver looks really fantastic on this. Just stamping imagery right over the top of it, trees or something like that. And this one really holds up. I really like it with, stars up in the sky too. Like I said, it'll stabilize that top portion for you. And it just works out really well. So like those two pieces like that. This one right here, I don't know if I'm doing, I don't know if I'm getting, a pack of 10 sheets of that, where I do have like 40 cards or something like that. If I was still in my kind of heavy collecting days of that, but I want kind of more applicable types of surfaces that I plan on using quite a bit. This one's kind of extreme right there, but I don't know, in terms of utilizing those ones, they're definitely attention getting though. So yeah, I don't know. That's really fun stuff and really surprising to me. And with what it can look like in the end result. And look at this one right here. This, at a certain angle, that just looks that it can be just like a piece of white piece of paper there too. So yeah, I don't know. I'm baffled here. Thanks for joining in, everyone. Hope you have a great rest of evening. Yeah. Paula, watch that. I think the last one was like a 10-minute card or something like that. Okay, but just keep in mind you can use that the couple of those last techniques, I think, with any of the color of these card stocks or the holographics or whatever you have. Okay, just everyone keep in mind, okay, on these types of card stocks too. Not the white. The white seems like it can take any type of thing, but if you're doing stuff on, super glossy, types of foils like that, just use like a StazOn or your Brilliance inks, okay, or something like that. I still get people kind of mentioning, hey, I've given that a try and I worked all day on that, and I'll say, well, what ink did you use on the foil? And they might say like a Memento or something like that, which is a dye-based ink, and that's not going to adhere to that type of, surface right here. I'm thinking it'll work on the white though. But, if you're ever having any problems, like I always say at the end of these videos, just drop me a note and we'll get that worked out. And, it'll save you a lot of, time and frustration, just, working with the correct, ink surface compatibility combinations, okay? All right, happy 4th, yes, to everyone. Good night, everyone, and thanks again for joining in.